Remember that shit I said in my Warriors vid about how like the PS2 was the best era of gaming because that's when creativity and game developers was at its purest? I'm talking like anything could have been a game. From your Def Jams to your NBA Streets, like anything. My best memory of gaming comes from that era, and within that era came 50 Cent Bulletproof. For those of y'all who either don't remember or are too young to remember, 50 Cent was the biggest thing to come out of hip-hop in the early 2000s. Like, the release of Get Rich or Die Trying skyrocketed that man's name throughout the industry. So much so that he was able to venture out of hip-hop and go into not only releasing a movie 2 years later, but also a video game. 50 Cent Bulletproof is a third-person shooter that was released in 2005 on the PS2 and the original Xbox, and later on eventually the PSP. Now, during this time, third-person shooters were kind of, rare. Like, I can't think of any third-persons other than like Max Payne and The Punisher. The genre was still kind of fairly new at the time. Like, these were like the earliest years of the next generation of modern day gaming. So for Bulletproof to come out during the time that it did in both gaming and third-person shooters and still be as good as it was is pretty impressive. Outside of Grand Theft Auto and Max Payne, not too many third-person shooters were really that impressive. Okay, so to start this off, the beginning of the game goes like this. We introduced to 50 Cent and the rest of G-Unit as 50 gets a call from one of his homies saying, "Hey, I need help. I need y'all to come get me." Now, 50, Banks, Buck, Yayo, they all go to some loading bay area down in Queens to go help their friend K-Dog. Now, throughout the rest of the level, you and the rest of G-Unit have to fight through waves of armed agents in 4 different spots of the loading bay area in order to get to K-Dog. And it's kind of cool because gameplay and gunplay aside, the mission ends with a boss battle. Now, when I first played Bulletproof, I didn't think they were going to do that because, like, when it comes to shooters, especially third person, I mean, you don't really have, like, boss battles, the whole bar across the enemy's head shit. That only really works in, like, fighting games. Well, I only really see it in fighting games. So when I first saw it in a third-person shooter, it kind of took me by surprise, but I enjoyed it. I feel like it adds more character to the game. Now, that's just the first mission, alright? There's a whole bunch of shit you do after. Like, the next mission is a stealth mission, kinda, sorta, in the beginning, and then eventually it turns into, like, a mansion shootout. Then after that, 50 goes to a junkyard after he found out K-Dog was dead, and he tries to pose as him, but it fails, and it turns into a junkyard shootout. This game is just shootouts in random locations. But in between these missions, you kind of have a bit of a free roam option. After the end of each mission, you go back to 50's apartment, where after you step out, you can roam around the block and explore different shops. You can either go to the pawn shop, you can go to Dr. Dre's van and purchase guns, you can go to the movie theater and purchase execution moves from Popcorn, or you can buy medication, painkillers, and upgrades to your armor and health from Dr. Friday. Oh shit, let me not forget, you can also purchase music from the back of Who Kid's car. You can purchase the song itself, or you can purchase the instrumental. After you purchase the track, you can actually listen to it while you play the game. Obviously, it cuts off during the cutscenes, but while you're actually playing it, shooting at your enemies, ducking and diving, the song of your choice plays. You can make your own little playlist and everything. Speaking of which, a really cool feature I enjoyed about this game was how they introduced the music from the actual albums into the game. Now, you got music from Get Rich or Die Trying, The Massacre, Beg for Mercy, Hunger for More, Straight Outta Cash, all that shit. You have all the albums that were out currently at the time, and they put it into the game. Now, there's actually an option in the pause menu screen to actually watch music videos or other forms of content. You can listen to some of the music that you bought from Who Kid, or you can watch a music video that you unlock throughout the game. You know, like in the beginning, they have a song off Get Rich or Die Trying, Heat. They made a whole new music video for that song, and they put it in this game specifically for this game. It's the same song, but the music video is different. Or if you want, you can go back to 50's apartment and watch some of these videos at the crib. You can watch some of the interviews that they had throughout the time for this game. You can watch trailers. Like, this game is more than just a third-person shooter. It's low-key like an MP3 player and a DVD player all at the same time. Something that I really liked about Bulletproof a little more, other than the other third-person shooters that we have, is that this game had more than just a story mode. It also had a bonus mode called Arcade Mode. If you don't feel like playing playing the campaign, they have a mode for you where you can like take on different waves of enemies in one of the spots you unlock throughout the campaign, and you get to play as whoever you want, from 50 Cent to DJ Who Kid to Lloyd Banks to whoever. Like, from the main cast to the supporting cast, they are all playable characters in arcade mode. Granted, in order for you to unlock new arenas for arcade mode, you do have to play the story mode, but I believe it's worth it. You get to try new characters, try new loadouts, all the while listening to your favorite G-Unit records. Now, as I said in the beginning, this game came out in 2005, and when I decided to replay it, I was kind of worried because I didn't know if the game was going to be as fun as I thought it was when I was younger, or if the AI was going to be glitchy or whatever, but surprisingly, the AI works really good. And I'm not just talking about the enemy AI, I'm talking about the allies. Something I noticed in a lot of games from like back then, the AI wasn't always the best. Like, let's say you're playing like Halo 2, if you were shooting at the Covenant and they were shooting at you and you had people on your side, they wouldn't really do shit for you. They get killed easily, they don't do any damage to the enemies, you're kind of by yourself. They were basically placeholders for the main character. It's not like that in this game. The AI actually does shit. And at first I didn't notice up until like the second mission. See, in the first mission, it's all four of y'all, right? You, Buck, Yayo, Banks, whatever. And y'all are shooting, y'all doing y'all thing. You don't notice it at first, but when you go into the second mission where it's just you and Banks and you try going guns blazing like you normally do in the first one, you might die a lot quicker than when you had four people. Like, there was times where I was low on health and I'm thinking, fuck, I'm about to go out and the AI will actually help me. If I'm pinned down, they're rushing in to save me. And if I give a command, they'll actually do it. Like with Banks, if you have to crack a safe and you tell him to do it, you don't have to worry about him moving around in a circle for like 10 to 15 seconds before he gets to the destination and it takes mad long for him to do what he gotta do. No, it's instant and I like it. The AI is smart. That's saying something for a PS2 game that came out in 2005. Now, as I said, I love this game, right? I got a lot of praise for it, but I'm not gonna lie, there's shit about this game that I don't like. Well, it's mainly two things, but we're gonna get into it. The first thing, the music. Now, I was a big 50 Cent fan, I was a big G-Unit fan, I love their music. That's not what I mean when I say that's the problem. The problem is, the music doesn't know when it wants to start and end sometimes. Like, if you decide not to make your own playlist and just let the music that they selected for the game itself play in the background, the instrumentals have a tendency of lapping over each other. Like, for example, let's say I'm playing the game and If You So Gangsta by Lloyd Banks start playing. It'll play for like 5 seconds, then it will change to So Seductive by Tony Yayo. It will play for 15 seconds, then it will change to Back Down by 50 Cent. Then that would change in like 3 seconds to Get in My Car. Within a span of 30 seconds, you already went through like 9 or 7 different instrumentals. And it's weird because I feel like the music fits perfectly throughout the cutscenes. Like in one of the cutscenes, when Popcorn gives you that earpiece to talk to him, where you're about to go into like a little stealth mission, G'd Up starts playing. And it's fitting. But after the cutscene ends, it will go from fucking like G'd Up to This Is 50 to Ski Mask Way. Like, if you leave the jukebox to the default setting, it's gonna bug out. Now, I don't mind it as much, but there were times where it was kind of distracting. So I say if you play this game and you want to listen to those old 50 Cent or Lloyd Banks or G-Unit records, I say make your own playlist and just listen to that instead. Now, the second thing I didn't like about this game, some of the voice acting was kind of flat. Not saying the voice acting is bad. I don't think it's bad. I just think that there is times where people don't put as much enthusiasm into the voice acting. Like with 50, I like his narration. His narration throughout the game is good. It reminded me a lot of the movie, but there are times where he kind of falls off a little bit.
What the fuck? That's my stereo. And my plasma too. What's all this doing here?
And I'm gonna give him his credit. In his defense, the man was shot in his mouth, so I kind of get why he'll like mumble a little bit, or if he says things a little unenthusiastically. And he's not an actor, he's a rapper, so I'll give him his credit. But there's just a couple times throughout the game where you do notice his lack of enthusiasm. Shootouts, boss battles, hip hop, G-Unit. This game has everything a typical video game fan would like, but everything a typical 50 Cent fan would love. 50 Cent Bulletproof is a staple in a lot of people's childhoods. And in a way, it's a reminder of how creative the era of the PS2 was when it came to video games. And that concludes this episode of ReggieTV. I hope y'all enjoyed it because I sure as shit did. I loved replaying this game so I can get the feeling that I got when I was a kid in order to like give my proper opinion of it. But I also miss the PS2, man. I miss that era of gaming. So I always like the opportunity I get to talk about games from that time. Like, it gives me the chance to relive certain moments, you feel me? Now, with that being said, I'm gonna hop up out of here. I gotta record this Velma video. So I'll holler at y'all in the next one. I'm out.